Hi, I'm meteorologist Gary Lezak, founder of Weather 2020 and the Lezak Recurring Cycle, or the LRC forecasting method. This is your 2025 hurricane season preview. The full guide, the full 2025 hurricane season guide, over 30 pages long, is available on weather2020.com. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But first, what I'm going to show you today is different than anything you'll hear from other meteorologists or models, because this isn't just about warm water or wind shear. We don't just go into sea surface temperatures and La Nina and El Nino. In fact, far from it. This is about the actual atmospheric pattern that repeats and how we use it to forecast hurricanes months in advance. The LRC is one proven method. 5 critical questions, unlimited forecasting power. What, where, when, why, and how do these tropical systems form? Not just tropical systems, severe weather outbreaks, all these weather seeds that blossom into storms as we go through the year. Over 90% accurate in predicting severe weather outbreaks over the past 3 years. Number 1 in hurricane forecasting accuracy, which I'll show you in a minute. The weather pattern repeats. We've cracked the code of long-range weather forecasting. Here is the LRC Timeline. What is the LRC and why it changes everything in forecasting? The LRC is a cycling weather pattern that sets up every fall. By early October, the jet stream organizes into a unique pattern. The upper level wind flow, about 10 to 25, 30,000 feet above us, is cycling. And that pattern will repeat this year about every 40, 41 days, almost every 6 weeks, through the rest of spring, summer, and into next fall before it all repeats once again. The LRC identifies this unique repeating atmospheric pattern that sets up every October. Weather seeds are planted. You can see here, weather seeds are planted, and then predictions are made with weeks to months to prepare. Hurricanes, heat waves, droughts, trace back to the original seeds with over 90% accuracy. Why does the LRC work for hurricanes? We stumbled across this back in 2012. Very interesting story there, but we started refining our techniques as we noticed that the hurricanes are also caught within this cycling weather pattern. Yes, they're farther south in the tropics, but they're impacted and influenced by the LRC. The LRC identifies a unique pattern that sets up every fall. Tropical disturbances that form after the pattern locks in, starting around October 5th each fall, become future threats. These systems recur in future cycles. All 5 landfalling USA named storms predicted by the LRC last year, all of them, Beryl, Debbie, Francine, Helene, and Milton. Ernesto is another one, so we can make it 6. All 6, I guess you could say. You can see here, there's Ernesto. This is where we forecast Ernesto to be, right around the time it happened, August 15th. And this is where Ernesto was. There's the forecast. That's where it ended up being. Same thing with each one of these, amazingly. And Hurricane Helene, the disaster, we got within 1 day. We predicted September 25th that it would make landfall, and it made landfall on September 26th. Pretty amazing. Barcelona Supercomputing Center in Barcelona, Spain, tracks this data from different companies around the world, universities, government agencies, and private companies. In 2024, who's number 1? Who was number 1 last year in predicting the number of named storms, number of hurricanes, number of major hurricanes, and total ACE, accumulated cyclone energy? Weather 2020 was number 1. Now, look at the last 3 years. All right, this is for all of the 3 years combined. Weather 2020 dominates the field. There's something happening here. What is going on? It's the LRC method. How are we so far ahead of everyone else? There are the numbers. 87.38 is our accuracy score, way above all of the others you can see here. Our competitors, government agencies, and universities. This is again from data from Barcelona Supercomputing Center. All right, here is our forecast for this season. 20 named storms. We're above most other forecasts. Why is that? As the fall began, I told you after October 5th, the new LRC is setting up. There were 6 more named storms. Of last year's 19 named storms, there were only 13 before October 5th. Something happened after October 5th. What happened? The new LRC set up. 20 named storms is our forecast, 12 hurricanes, 5 major hurricanes, 180 are accumulating cyclone energy, way above average, which is 123. So we're expecting and forecasting an above average season. And if you've been following the last 3 years, you know we've been predicting lower numbers accurately. This year we're predicting higher numbers because of weighting the LRC. These are the names for this year's hurricane season. Andrea, followed by Barry, Chantal, Dexter, Aaron, Fernand, Gabrielle, Humberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, and so on. So we'll see how many there are. If it gets all the way to Wendy, it'll be amazing. That'd be a lot of storms. Okay, now, these are our higher confidence predictions. In our hurricane season guide, we'll show all of our 15 predictions. But these are some of the areas we want to show you. One threat for the Texas-Louisiana coast, centered on the Texas-Louisiana coast. As you can see, this is related to Hurricane Raphael. You see this right here? Raphael was actually right here in this location on November the 8th. All right, so around November 8th is when Raphael was here. We're expecting another one to be right near this location because the pattern is going to repeat. When? Mid to late August risk. Mid to late August risk. But we will look for earlier periods, more on that in a minute, because remember, the pattern is cycling. So 40 or 41 days before this risk and 82 days before this risk, we'll look for a hint or a possible named tropical storm earlier in the season. The Mid-Atlantic states have this risk of a system that we monitored. It was not a named storm. 21st to the 24th of October, there was a system right here. So we're expecting one to form, and that would threaten the Carolina and Mid-Atlantic states, possibly Florida or Georgia as well. When? September 6th to 20th. September 6th to 20th. You can see all the information here. Several weather seeds were identified between October 21st and 24th, likely to sprout into an organized tropical system during the 2025 hurricane season. The primary impact zone appears to be the coastal region of South Carolina and North Carolina for this part of the pattern, due right around peak hurricane season, September 13th. We will look for earlier periods around late June. So we'll look for late June. Could there be a named storm right in here in late June? If there is, it increases the probability of one right here around September 13th. Another region that we are targeting here is Florida, one of our top 5 picks of the season for systems. This is related to Oscar. Oscar was right in here in October, on October 19th. The system did not organize into a named storm until October 19th. However, Oscar formed off the coast of Africa and trekked all the way to where it intensified right in here on October 19th. So it could happen earlier because it may start forming earlier. But there it is, September 6th to September 20th, at the same time as that other one. So we might have 2 or 3 going at the same time right around peak hurricane season. Again, we will look in late June, mid to late June for a system that could be in this area. The landfall threats, the hot spot, you can see right in here, Texas, Louisiana, right in here. The big hot spot for the season, 2 to 4 landfall threats this season. And in the red areas, that is 1 to 3 landfall threats. Not as much in the northeast Gulf of Mexico this year. So it's still a chance of 1 threat or 2, but more likely 0 to 2 in this area. So just want to let you know that this is a risk. We've been very accurate at these hotspots, and the first one to ever issue hotspots a decade ago. The early season dates to monitor. Remember the pattern cycling. So as these big threats come through in August and September, earlier in the season, there will be a risk. So Rafael became a Category 3 hurricane November 8th, as we talked about, but we will look in the first 10 days of June or so, around the second week of June, to see if something does form in this area. So we'll look for that. If there is a named storm or an organized system in this zone, then that increases the probability of another one as we get to mid to late August. What's in the hurricane season guide? What you just saw and a lot more. Detailed tropical outlook for each risk window identified by the LRC. Landfall threat zones that you just saw. Ongoing updates throughout the season. So you'll get our updates. And if you bundle, you'll get our severe weather outbreak and winter guides as well. All of this is available for $99. And for $149, you'll get the severe weather guide, the winter guide, and the hurricane guide all the way through next year. So we'll include it right up to this point a year from now. So in our appendix and case studies, we talk about FAQs, what the probabilities are, what is the LRC, how accurate are these predictions. So read through those. This is our prediction of Hurricane Ian. One of our customers was prepared weeks before, if not months before, Ian hit. And so we provide excellent information for them if you're interested. And there's a testimonial and a 10-month prediction of Hurricane Ian. And then the case study of, we also in these yellow areas predict when there most likely won't be a threat. And we told these guys in Louisiana that there would not be a threat. In the David Bernard podcast, there would not be a threat, a major threat along the coast in this area. And there were no threats in 2022 here. So accurately predicting where it will happen and where it will not happen. So get your severe weather guide, and a lot more will be coming in the next few weeks. There's a quick outlook. I wanted to share this information with you. Remember, we're using this new way of forecasting weather. This is a new way of forecasting the weather. And we've refined it over the past 40 years of research. You can go all the way back to the 1940s. We'll talk more about that another time. But anyway, I hope you have if you do have any questions, just let me know. I'm meteorologist Gary Lezak with Weather 2020, and we'll keep you updated.